Hey guys, Cuchallain here, and today I'm going to quickly go over my theory about an inverted underwater future foundation building. I'm not the first person to suggest this theory, but with more recent pieces of evidence as Mirai-Hen has gone on, I've come to believe in it more and more, so this video is just going to be an explanation of the theory and the evidence that supports it as far as I know. So the general idea is that what we continuously see of the future foundation building with a red sky above it, where Naegi and the rest of the future foundation entered and where we have Hagakure continuously screaming out Naegi-chi uselessly outside, is in fact only half of the future foundation building itself. With another half of the building an inverted replica underneath it that Munakat helped to design to really hide what his future overseas version of Hope's Peak Academy was going to be. So, last time on Ku's Crazy Theories, Ku originally thought that ever since the Killing Game started, the Future Foundation members had been moved somewhere other than the original building. And at first, he thought that perhaps the whole Killing Game was another simulation, but pieces of evidence like Hagakure's explosions shaking up the Future Foundation interior, and Miyaya Gekogahara being replaced with a robot, suggest that this was false. At the same time, there were still those strong suggestions that the building they're in now is not the same building that they have first entered in. With the dagger that Izuyoi threw at Naegi and hit the door in the first episode disappearing by the second episode, which Kirigiri herself took active interest in. And the whole building managing to be filled with portraits and hints of Monokuma, plus every exit and entrance and window being sealed by giant metal grates, the same kind you'd see in the Killing Game Part 1 that Junko put over everything. It's not something you would expect a killer to take the time to tend to do before killing Chisa and starting the game. Let alone if it really was done within all that time, you'd think Hagakure would have noticed all the windows slowly being boarded up. So this got me thinking about the idea of a future foundation building built underneath the original and designed as an exact replica hidden from the rest of the world beneath the waves of the ocean. The idea had formed in my head for a while, and I personally preferred the simulation theory for a good while and refused to accept that was wrong. But after the newest episode of Mirai-Hen especially, I'm fully committed to it. With Munakata's creepy emergence from a bright blue lit area, that I was very confused as to where it was. I mean, in regards to the rest of the Future Foundation, everything so far has been lit up in dark greens, blues and reds. In Mirai-Hen, even the sky itself is shown to be a dark red at all times rather than any kind of blue, seemingly as some sort of artistic effect. And many other colours are much less pronounced compared to other entries in the series like the games and Zetsubo-Hen. So this sky blue colour has only actually appeared 2 other times before in the show. The first of which is a huge support to this theory, and it's in the opening where we see the Future Foundation building and seemingly its reflection in the water, with one side being blue like in the past and in Zetsubo-Hen, and the other side being red like the Mirai-Hen time. While this could just be an artistic thing to show how the world was when it was full of hope and how it is now after the tragedy, I think it may well also be a suggestion to the building's secrets. This is further supported by the only other time that this colour is used in the show, which was pointed out to me by the YouTube user Jackson Simmons in the comment section of the last video when I talked about this theory. At the end of Mirai-Hen episode 6, we actually see Munakata after he's taken Izuyoi's sword, Seiko's medicine and Tengen's Chusen. The strangest find about this is something that none of us paid much attention to originally, which is where the source of that light blue light actually is. At the end of the hallway is what appears to be large windows with that bright blue colour flooding in from the outside. And if they really are windows, then what's most important about them is the fact that they aren't at all covered up. They're actually bare with no barriers to stop anyone from escaping outside the windows. Seemingly this is a part of the Future Foundation building that wasn't planned to be used for the Killing Game, as it gives away the secret of the building being underwater, if it is underwater, and makes it possible for a more desperate contestant to try and break the windows. I mean, if this is the original Future Foundation building and this theory is wrong, then that would mean somebody could break the windows and just jump and hope to survive. If it is correct and that is underwater stuff out there, then a really desperate contestant could try to break the window and try to swim for it, or just drown everyone else in the building if they go completely suicidal. So this may be a part of the building that is passed through the Monokuma door, the secret entrance that Izuyoi found earlier in the game, or perhaps somewhere completely different that Munakata was able to get to, since he's the one who designed the building and might know walls that he could break down without opening doors to get himself to the area that connects the upper and underside of the building. One thing that I always found rather weird about the Future Foundation building is how it's supposedly this hidden base which doesn't exist on maps and very few people know about. And yet rather than keeping it all silhouetted in the darkness with just lights that turn on to guide in arriving helicopters that they know are coming, they instead have the whole building gloriously lit up with tons of spotlights and floodlights to keep the whole building visible and bright at all times. This would not be a very smart decision for a secret base of resistant fighters, unless your real secret base is actually hidden underneath the water and what the lights are really there for is to make sure that reflections on the water around the building reflect the top side, rather than letting someone who happens to be seeing the building able to look down through the water and see the underside, which could possibly be lit up if people were inside it as well. This type of building makes complete sense for Munakata to have built for Hope's Peak Academy, as well as for his own ideals. I mean, the outwardly perfect academy which ultimate students would flood in to enjoy their days at, while underneath the real work of Hope's Peak Academy would be worked on by the steering committee and, you know, all those crazy bastards that are constantly studying Hope. Of course, Munakata himself didn't like the real work of Hope's Peak studying talent and wouldn't be interested in using the bottom half of the building for himself that way. But Munakata's ideals and plans for the Hope's Peak organization as a whole are something for a different video and a different time. For now, just let me know what you think about this theory that finally gives a good reason for the missing kunai, without it being too hard to complete, without too many stretches. I mean, if the masterminds behind the Killing Game prepared the underside of the building well in advance while Munakata was away, and then simply moved the participants from the top side to the underside while they slept, it would make a lot more sense. But you know, that's just my thoughts on the whole thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, wreck that like button like you mean it, share this with anyone else you think might be interested, and subscribe if you haven't already for more Danganronpa theories, reviews, and live reactions. And I will see you guys next time.